thanks for joining me for today's YouTube guitar lesson. In this guitar lesson I'd like to show you how you can take a pop chord progression and make it a little bit more jazzy sounding by adding some extensions to a chord. In this lesson we're going to be looking at a chord progression that's used in all kinds of pop chord songs such as Wonderwall by Oasis and Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Greenday. So let's get zoomed in and check out how to jazz up a pop chord progression. The chord progression that I'm going to be using in this lesson goes E minor, G, D and A. Now they're the chords in the most basic form, and they're commonly used in this kind of a way. Now there's nothing wrong with playing the chords like that, and in certain situations they'll work, but if you want to do like a pop song in a jazz arrangement, then they might work, but more often than not we'll kind of add some extensions to spice these chords up and maybe change the right hand technique a bit so we've got a bit more separation between the bass and the notes of the chord. So this first chord, E minor, let's get some volume here. Yeah, it's okay, you know, it's the first chord that most of us learn to play, you know, it's nothing wrong with it. But one thing I like to do is make this chord into a minor ninth chord. So there's some refingering needed here, and this is a chord that I like to change it to. Minor ninth chord, really nice sounding chord here. And what I'm doing here is I'm getting my first finger, putting that on the second fret, the B note, then I'm getting my fourth finger, putting that on the fourth fret of the D string, which is F sharp, which will give us the ninth, and I'm getting my third finger and putting it on the third fret of the B string. That gives us the seventh of the chord, and I'm using the E obviously as the root. And even this chord by itself, it sounds really nice. It's a nice ending chord. So that's the first chord that I like to use. So instead of a regular E minor, I like to use an E minor 9. The second chord in the progression is a G chord. So instead of using this G chord, what I'm really doing here is at this point I'm thinking, this is an E minor 9 chord. What's the easiest way to get to a G from this point? So I'm not really thinking of, you know, trying to think of a nice sounding G chord per se. I'm sort of looking at these notes and thinking, what's the best way I can get to a G without moving all my fingers to a different part of the guitar neck? And the best way that I think you can get to a G from this chord is just to simply put the second finger on the third fret of the E string, and this gives us a G major 7 chord. So we've gone from an E minor 9 to a G major 7 chord, whereas in the original progression, E minor to a G, E minor 9 to a G major 7. The next chord in the progression is a D. You know, the original one was this D triad on the top 3 strings of the guitar. I like to use this chord instead. And again, this has also got an open string here. It's got an open G string, and this chord, it's I've got the D, the root, on the 5th fret of the A string. I've got F sharp, the 3rd, on the 4th fret of the D string, and as I said, I've got the G as an open string, no frets there, and I've got the root again on the 3rd fret of the B string. So it's a really nice D chord there. I guess, I don't know, maybe you called it a D11 or something like that, because G, you know, that is the 11th in the key of D, sorry. So that might be like a D11. So far we've got an E minor 9, a G major 7, we've got this D11, and now the last chord of the song in the original chord progression is an A. So instead of playing that, I'm not going to play that. I'm going to play an A sus, which is is a really nice chord you can play. Now, some of you may know this has been an A sus, which of course that is a really nice sus voicing you can use, but since I've kind of got on my chords kind of spanning further up the neck, I don't really like to go back to that sus chord, even though it probably would work quite well. Instead, what I like to do is play this, which is a G triad, G, B, D, with an A in the bass. And that's a really cool tip for creating a sus chord. All you have to think, if you want like, a G sus, think of the triad a tone below the root. So there's a G. So to get like a G sus, you could just use an F triad with a G bass note. Really, really good trick, that one. And you can do it up there, I guess, if you want. There's a G bass note, and then you can play an F triad on top of that as well. But anyway, back to this chord progression. That's the last chord that I like to use. So to recap these chords, we have an E minor 9, G major 7, D11, and an A sus, or an A7 sus, because we do actually have a fat 7 there. And we also have the 9th there, the B. So just to recap again, E minor, G, D, and A. So now that you've got some nice jazzy chords under your fingers, let's have a look at what we can do with the right hand, because unfortunately the regular strumming technique that we'd use when we're just playing the regular chords, if you're just playing E minor, G, D and A, you might just use a plectrum and doesn't really work too well with a jazz voicing. So one thing that I like to do actually is separate the bass from the chord a bit. So I might go, so you can do this either by using the plectrum, but I like to use my fingers and thumb. If you're going to use a plectrum, you just strike the bottom, like the root of the chord, twice, and then you hit the full chord. There's the root of the next chord, the G chord. So you hit the root first twice and then strum the chord. Then there's the D chord, hit the root twice, then strum the full chord, and then the A sus. So that's the kind of rhythm that I'd use. As I said, I like to use the my fingers because it gives kind of the softer texture, and that's what I use for the intro video if you want to check that out. Thanks for checking out this video lesson. I hope that you've enjoyed learning about how I would make a pop chord progression a little bit more jazzy. I would recommend that you try and do the same. There's loads of common pop chord progressions, and it's not really that hard to do. The main thing I would look for is good voice leading in between each of the chords, really. So if you did enjoy this video, please click like, and please subscribe to this channel, because I do post out more videos like this, and I might consider doing another jazzed up pop chord progression. So if there's any pop chord progressions you'd like me to jazz up, just leave a comment below, and I'll take it in for consideration. So thanks again for checking out this video lesson, and I hope to see you in the next lesson.